The Filipino community here in the United States, I've always said this on many occasions, that they're highly respected. For every time I have a meeting with, especially with U.S. congressmen and U.S. senators where they have a large Filipino community, even if we are, I wouldn't say arguing, but we're talking about very special, very important issues, we end up always talking about the Filipino community and how happy and very proud they are of the Filipino-American communities that they have in their districts. So that gives you an indication of how the Filipinos are viewed here in the United States. And of course, needless to say, during the pandemic, we played a significant role. Many of our health workers played a significant role here in the United States. So generally, I would say that we are one of the most highly respected ethnic groups here in the United States. Well, we have about 4.3 million Filipinos. The impact, I wouldn't be able to tell you in dollars and cents, but I can tell you that, again, whenever we talk about Filipino Americans or Filipinos working here in the United States, they always tell me they are hardworking, good people. Every time I hear that, talagang nakakatabang ng puso yan dahil talagang they really, and you can see that they really mean this, that it's not they're telling me just because I happen to be the ambassador, but they even give you details on where they were able to interact with some of these Filipino workers that have been here, or they work in some of their companies, and they really are very, very appreciative of the hard work that many Filipinos do here in the United States. That is the kind of impact they have in the economy. Well, this is a very historical event. Of course, we know that President Marcos won with the largest majority ever in the history of the elections in the Philippines, 31 million votes. That's a very significant one, which many Filipino Americans and Americans themselves are well, I wouldn't say astounded, but they are simply impressed with it. So they are very eager to meet this new president that is widely supported in the Philippines, and certainly when they have seen him, the way he elucidates his plans for the future of the country, they very much are very eager to meet him in person. So this visit of his, while very short and only specifically for the United Nations, there's a lot of excitement for his forthcoming trip here. Well, I think generally the Filipino community, as I said, they're very eager to have that. Like, to give you an example, there are so many Filipino communities from all over the country, including Canada, that have signified their intention and their request to be able to meet the president. So our Consul General, or the Consulate General here in New York, is organizing a group of people that will be able to meet and greet the president. So we're hopeful that that event will be a very successful one. As the president said and told us, he would like to really see more economic trade or economic activity between the Philippines and the United States. And I think his trip here to go to the United Nations, the other part of it really is to have as many meetings as he could possibly include in his schedule with American companies, CEOs, and different sectors of the American business community, especially in areas of the agriculture, of course, which is very important for him, clean energy, alternative energy, and other business activities, food production, that would probably be part of his whole agenda in the next 6 years. When President Biden first called President Marcos 2 days after the elections, on May, I think 11 that was, both have signified their intent to meet one day soon. And of course, when President Biden sent his special envoy, the second gentleman, the message was clear that he would like to. President Biden was looking forward to meeting President Marcos in Washington, D.C. So this United Nations General Assembly is an opportunity for both of them to meet face to face. So we're waiting for the opportune schedule. We're both the White House and us in the embassy. We're just looking for the time and date, and mainly the changes are really very volatile because of the fact that the sad news of Queen Elizabeth's passing, which changed a lot of schedules, especially for President Biden. But I'm quite certain that will happen. But nonetheless, there will be a chance for them to meet in person at the reception hosted by President and Mrs. Biden for all the heads of state who are coming to the United Nations. President Marcos has always looked at overseas workers as the modern-day heroes, like we've always looked at them. And certainly for us in the embassy and all the embassies, I assume, in all over the world, the Philippine embassies, one of our main concerns is to see how we can protect and also do whatever it is that we can do for our Filipino kababayans. As you know, the President promised the Secretary Tuts Ople, who's now the Secretary of the Migrant Workers, that will be up and running, he says, by next year. That will definitely be very important for all our workers to have a department just focused on them and their needs, and how we can enhance and be able to help them in their work outside of the country. A lot of it is to look at more economic opportunities for both the United States and the Philippines. As I said, one of them is clean energy. You know, climate change is a very important issue that the President, I'm sure, will mention it during his speech at the United Nations. So to add to that is to have companies that are involved in clean energy, for instance, and alternative energy here in the United States, to find ways and means to be able to come and perhaps have a joint venture with our local companies. That's why he has invited several companies, big companies from the Philippines, their CEOs, to join him on this trip to be able to connect them. And this has been very effective. Almost all presidents have done this, but more so with President Marcos now, because he sees really the economy as the way to move the country forward. He wants to see more people that will prosper in the country in the future. We're very grateful that the President is coming, and it will be an opportunity for him to be able to sort of like raise the flag and show that the Philippines is here and we're ready to play a part in global peace and prosperity.